Alright, here we are in qualifying for Austria. Our stats updated. They're on the bottom right as we have a little bit of a lockup coming through this final corner. We could have had a little bit more time as we get the DRS open. 1:16.784 is our first banker lap. Currently good enough for P4. Coming around to our final run, we're about 6/10 or so. Lose a little bit, loses 2/10 or so, 3/10 or so here. Coming around the final corner, you can hear the brakes locking up a little bit, hitting DRS. Currently P19, back up into P9. It's only going to be good enough P9 for the rest of this race weekend.
Goodbye for now then, but we really are just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow. So it's all about speed in today's sprint race then. Not very many laps and no chance to get ahead on strategy. Who here today has the raw skill to take them to the top? So Spielberg is one of the shortest laps on the F2 calendar, just 10 corners, 7 right and 3 left. Look out for the uphill braking zone into turn 3 that represents one of the better opportunities to overtake. Also turn 4 straight afterwards, and then the next one being all the way back round to turn 1. Welcome to the Formula 2 commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes. Alex Brundle joins us as ever for this. Alex, it's a sprint race. How's the format change going to affect the mentality of the drivers?
We have seen stops before at the end of the sprint race, jumping onto that softer compounded tyre and having at it for the final few laps of the race. Indeed, we've seen sprint races won like that. So anything could happen out there. Don't send the pit crew home just yet.
All right. That was a strong session in qualifying. Now, moving on to the sprint and feature races, we shouldn't encounter any issues on the straights compared to last weekend's race.
And as we were jumping right to our 5 red lights, we also adjusted our tire pressures in hopes that we had a good race. As we're off to a pretty okay start, had our Correa Oasa lose, fighting for a position behind us. We're taking it easy. Could have done a little bit more power down on the throttle coming out of turn 1, but ElevenLabs sitting in P1 about a half second ahead. As we're gonna take it easy, hopefully, for the rest of this lap and find our footing and seeing where our tire wear is, since we did change those tire compounds around a little bit to kind of combat our performance. Seemed like we had a lot of tire wear on the front right through practice and qualifying, so we raised the tire pressure there on the front right to see if that'll help us out a lot, or if at all. As we're trying to close in on ElevenLabs, we're now within half a second, within 4/10 or so. Is not quite taking as much curb as we should yet. Just trying to get the temperature into these soft tires as we do the automatic formation lap. But running pretty good. We're within 3/10 coming around these final few corners, second to last, and then the last corner. It's our first track limits warning there for the sprint race, as we try to push this car as much as we can to try to get ahead of ElevenLabs. But nothing's going to be really going on until the end of lap 3, so 2 laps later, coming around these final 2 corners, still within that 3/10 of a gap on ElevenLabs, waiting for an opportunity, and this is going to be the opportunity that we get because we have DRS. It's to see start finish straight on lap 3 to lap 4. We're going to make a move on the inside. Not enough room for us to move to the outside before he can get far enough away from that braking point. So we hold the inside line and give as much room as we can as we're side by side coming up the hill. And that adjustments to our front and rear wings that we had to kind of capitalize on the top speed kind of helped us out coming up the hill, as we currently P1 against ElevenLabs, but he's still right there next to us. He has DRS, so he's going to quickly come up there next to us on the left. You can see him in the mirror momentarily. You can see him there on the left side as we're still fighting. Hajar still sitting behind in P3 in our tow. ElevenLabs had to back off, so we get P1 here as we're coming down the rest of Sector 1 into Sector 2 on lap 4. And if you guys haven't already noticed, there is still a little bit of frame rate issues. We've been trying to troubleshoot it. I've been trying to figure it out. It's spotty. My setup is up to date. My drivers, my settings are set to the preferred to reduce the amount of frame rate stuttering issues. But the show must go on. Novalak on lap 6, still trying to fight for the lead. He has DRS. We had a few mistakes throughout the last lap or so. Hajar trying to make a move on the inside, not quite enough as we're filing in behind Novalak. We still have about just over half the race to go as we're almost done with lap 6. A little bit of a scrape on the back end for Novalak. That's nothing too bad. We're basically trying to learn his braking points and his patterns as we try to make a way around. So we're going to make a move on the inside, hopefully not quite there. We don't have the pace coming out of those corners quite yet, but we are going to have another chance at DRS coming through this final corner. Trying to keep that back end from coming out. We hit DRS, we're going to make a move on the inside, push him into the inside, and we're going to take the outside line through turn 1. Hopefully we can hold on to it there as Hajar tries to file in behind us. So they're going to be stuck side by side. That's going to give us enough leeway to try and hold on to this win. So they're about 6/10 or so back. Lap 13:14. That gap has increased to 4 seconds. Hajar now up into P2. Martin's P3. Novalak all the way back down to P4. Iwasa, Correa, Verschoor, Vesti, Deruvla, and Hauger to round out the end of our top 10. As we're just about a lap and a half to go, as we're coming down the hill here in Sector 2. I'm really feeling the tire life on these soft tires as we're coming around these first corners, but unfortunately, as we're coming down to the final few corners, we're gonna have an engine failure. The smoke is going out of our engine. That's where we cut off the engine, and not quite there to go into the pits and retire because AI have control. We take out the DRS board as we come to a halt for our sprint race here in Austria.
It was touch and go for a while there, but High Tech GP have done it. A great win.
Well, sprint races are basic, aren't they? And that's why we like them. Set them all going and let them have at it. And they really showed the racecraft and pace that you need to win.
And as they make their way down to the podium, there's no denying the strength of the High Tech GP team. It was an incredible performance today, and they fully deserve to stand on the top step. After all this drama, you'll be mad not to join us for the next race. We hope to see you then. Take care. Here we are amidst the dense forest and rolling hills of Spielberg in Austria, just 2 hours out of Vienna. It's an amazing destination for the race today, and we're about to get started. So Spielberg is one of the shortest laps on the F2 calendar, just 10 corners, 7 right and 3 left. Look out for the uphill braking zone into turn 3 that represents one of the better opportunities to overtake. Also turn 4 straight afterwards, and then the next one being all the way back round to turn 1. With that then, let's run through the grid order. J.N. Deruvla lines up on pole position, with Frederick Vesti alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hauger, Martins, Richard Verschoor, Hajar, Correa, Iwasa, Johnson, Clermont Novalak, Maloney, Pourchaire, Kushmaini, Arthur Leclerc, Behrman, Fittipaldi, Cordial, Brad Benavides, Boschon, Crawford, Nissani, and Roman Stanek completes the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Hello one, hello all, and welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes, he is Alex Brundle, and we have changeable conditions today, Alex. How does that uncertainty affect the strategy?
There are going to be some quivering hands on the tyre guns, aren't there, when they tighten up what could easily be the wrong specification of tyre completely for the conditions. It's a gamble out there.
I understand that we encountered difficulties yesterday due to the engine failure, but with the new component installed, we should be set for a respectable finish.
The formation lap gets underway for this, the Formula 2 race, and every driver will be looking to settle in for the race ahead, making sure the car is ready for battle once the lights go out.
Alright, so here we are pulling up to the grid for the feature race. We are reset compared to the unfortunate engine failure that we had during the sprint race, but we have a new component in our car with no grid penalty. We're going to be starting in P9 behind Awasa as our 5 red lights are on, and we are off to a rough start here. Novalak on the inside still trying to make up a position compared to yesterday, as he does. That's going to be Maloney on the outside, as we're off to a pretty rough start trying to fight Novalak and get back up to where we started. But we're down 1 position so far for the start of this feature race. And we still have a lot of race to go, so we're going to break early, depending on where these cars are at, and go from there. We're side by side with Maloney for P10. He backs out, and we're pushing this car as best as we can with these super softs. A little bit more grip than the soft tires. You guys can hear the car bottoming out. I didn't hear this much during the sprint race, but we definitely are during the feature race. We're going to be hearing that a lot, unfortunately. There's a little bit of a tire screech there. I'm not sure if the back end was wanting to come out or if I was putting too much power down. But the car definitely wants to perform different because of the tire compounds that we are using. But yeah, lap 120. We're down 1 position. We started in P9. But we have a lot of race to go. So we're getting right up in the gearbox of Novalak. The DRS not active for another 2 laps. As we're moving on to lap 2. Behind Novalak for P9. Moving on to lap 3. So a whole lap or so, lap and a sector later. Novalak Awasa ahead as we hit our braking point. And we hit it a little bit later than I would have wanted. We get a track limits warning, and we get a position on Novalak. We gained a position after we come back on the track, so there's no illegal overtake there. So it is a legal move into P9, as Awasa is next up on the chopping block for us to gain the positions. You guys saw the positions that we were fighting for in the front of the sprint race, not really gaining positions through the grid because we were starting in the front against Novalak, but we are running good. But up ahead, that is Dennis Hauger going into the pits for what looks like to be a punctured front left tire. I'm not sure what caused it. I watched the replay, and I don't know if it was just too much curb or it was an old set of super softs or tires that we used from yesterday. I'm not quite sure. I believe we started all on the same set of tires, so I'm not sure what happened. Lap 4, now the end of lap 4, we're right up on Awasa for P7 from that free position from Dennis Hauger, who's back in the B22. So they're out of this race pretty much, unless there's a safety car. Try to force Oasa to the outfield, to the inside, try to make a position. Picks up a lot of curb. We take some curb. We have a better launch out of the corner as we get DRS. We both have DRS, so it's just a matter of downforce. So we have a little bit more downforce, but as we're coming uphill, that changes a little bit. A little bit of a lockup there from Vershoor in P5 against Hajar. And we hold on to that position for P7 against Oasa here on lap 5. So quarter of the way through the race already. We're making some good progress. 3 positions. Lap 7 now, the start of lap 7. We're trying to make a move on Hajar. Gonna wait and see the 2x2 up there as we brake a little bit harder than usual. Move to the inside or right side of Hajar for position. Both happen with DRS side by side. As we see 2x2, I believe it's Martins and Darula up there fighting for position. We're on the inside of Hajar, so he has to give away the position. He has to keep fighting for it. Once again, a little bit of a latency issue there with the replay, but we're up into P6 at 8 of 20, still up into P6, looking to make a move on Vershoor now, who is now in P5. We're going to follow him actually into the pits for our pit stop onto, I believe, what is soft tires. So it's going to be, I believe, Vesti, Darula, myself, Oasa, behind Maloney, Porcher, Maini, a handful of us, the first group of drivers to commit for their pit stops. A little late of a launch as we come out behind what I believe was Oasa. I'm not quite sure. A lot of moving names here as we still come out third of the pits. Vesti, Vershoor, myself, Maloney, Porcher, Maini, Oasa, Nisani, Crawford, Stanek, and Hauger, who had took that early pit stop. Crawford and Stanek are still in the pits, and we're coming around to the end of lap 9 to see where we end up. After the second iteration of pit stops, you can see all those names going up and down. All the green are the drivers who pitted before, all the red are the ones who are pitting now. I'm going to be shooting up into P5 behind Vershoor and Correa of the VAR as that's Martins up in P3. So P5 halfway through the race, but as we're coming up this hill, we got Maloney, Darula, Nolak, and Behrman and Porcher behind. A little late on the brakes there behind Correa, almost coming in contact. But behind us, I believe we have one of the drivers spinning out. I believe that is Darula as he's dropping down the order, causing a full-blown safety car because they spin the car. So I'm going to be going to see the replay here of Darula coming up the hill, hitting that braking point, putting too much power down around the corner, and it's going to be a whole different mess. See the cars slowly creeping away, a lot of them ghosting. See some of them rolling backwards. That's Cordeal rolling backwards. I don't know what happened. I didn't check the race director entirely, but Cordeal ended up with a 10-second penalty, most likely for damage, rolling back on the track as we come back up to the leaders for the safety car. And that's Martin's P2. I don't remember who that is ahead of us, but we're P4 for the safety car. We'll see here in a moment. That is Vesti, Vershoor, Martins, Correa, myself, Maloney, Porcher, Novalak, Behrman, Maini for our top 10. Hajar, Cordeal with that 10-second time penalty for most likely collision with another driver during the incident, even though I believe it was Darula that was spun. Benavidez behind Cordeal, Nassani, Leclerc, Oasa, Crawford, Darula, Fittipaldi, Stanek, Beauchamp, and Hauger. So Hauger had an early pit stop, so they're going to be at a disadvantage, although we have a safety car. So Hauger switched over to the old set of tires that they started the race on, to a new set with unpunctured tire, I should say. Awesome words. It's been a minute since I commentated, been a few days. and I'm not feeling too well with the speech, as we're looking to come in at the end of lap 13. As you can see, there's still one more car there in the back of Dennis Hauger, who had gone into the pits. So we're looking pretty promising. P5, lap 12 of 20. At the end of lap 12, you can see hear the safety car, as it's all automatic, so we don't have to take care of our tires during the run. And I'm just thinking at this point, do I want to hold on to my tires and stick where I'm at for points, or do I want to go for the podium as we come to our restart on lap 14? So Correa ahead. Martins, Verschoor, Vesti fighting for top 3 at this point, as we're into the last quarter of the race. And this first banker lap after the safety car wasn't too bad. Not too many moves, or dangerous moves, that is. It was a little late on the brakes with these old soft tires, as we were all sitting on them through a safety car after we pit. So not necessarily a safety car incident directly after a pit stop that would affect us negatively, but still manageable. A little bit of lock up there from Correa. We were on the racing line. I don't know what they were doing. They grabbed a few positions, so that's P4. That's us right behind the podium fighters. And so we're coming around the bottom of, I believe that's turn 6 or 7. Same area. Now we're trying to fight Martins for P3. So we got Vesti, Verschoor, and then 2 Alpine Academy drivers fighting for P3. So we're going to be trying to make a move here through these last few corners. Hit the brakes as best as we can without slamming into the back of Martins here, as we make a move on the inside, taking a lot of curve, forcing our way into P3. Verschoor and Vesti are the only ones standing on our way for a race win today. Moving on to lap 17 now, and they're side by side, giving me an opportunity to hit the brakes late and catch up to them. So we're going to slide in behind Verschoor. Vesti on the inside. We have the tow from Verschoor. We have the RS. And that is an easy P2 for us here on lap 17. Vesti filing in behind us, as we are basically in nursing mode on these tires for the rest of this race. This double left-hander, a little late on the brakes there. A little bit less than what I should have done. As wrapping around the end of lap 17, holding Verschoor to the inside, we have DRS. We're going to be moving to the outside for turn 1, and hopefully coming up this hill, we're going to be able to hold on to P1. So that is lap 18, and we're up into P1 for a possible win. So with that, and a DNF from Behrman, we're going to go ahead and go to the commentators for what they have to say about today's race.
There's never too little action in F2 as we're nearing the end of the feature race here in Austria. Johnson yet again having a spectacular race as they're leading about 8/10 ahead of the other drivers who are fighting for P2.
I must say the skill level displayed by the drivers is consistently impressive. Regarding the championships, I am curious about the current standings. I'm examining the data, including the sprint race results, where Johnson has a significant lead in the driver standings. However, the constructor standings are tightly contested, with ART seemingly narrowing the gap through consistent point-scoring performances.
The battle for the Constructors' Championship is intensifying in the latter half of the season. Johnson is currently maintaining the lead for Virtuosi, but Cordial must elevate their performance to help contend for the title. In this situation, Johnson aims to maintain his lead over the other drivers. There are reports that he will join Alpine once more for tyre testing after the race weekend at Silverstone, getting him behind the wheel of an F1 car once again.
The driver market is bustling this season with anticipation for the next. Jack Doohan and Liam Lawson have spent considerable time behind the wheel of an F1 car, indicating that we may see some additional faces on the F1 grid next season alongside Johnson if he secures a seat.
I really want to believe that Johnson will secure a seat in F1. He has performed exceptionally well last season in F2. And this season, he's on the verge of another race win, which would add to his impressive track record.
This would also introduce another American driver to the grid within the same season, which would be fascinating to watch whether they are on the same team or not.
The F2 grid features a selection of American drivers, but the outcome will only be clear at the season's end, with Johnson seemingly on track for another F2 victory.
Nice one. Very lovely drive. On to the next one.
Ah, fantastic drive. That's just fantastic. Amazing. You deserved that race win. Well done, mate. So Virtuosi have won it, and what a great race it was.
Oh, it's brave, brave stuff, isn't it? That's what these cars are for, to tempt these moves out of the young drivers, and they've really done a beautiful job of it there.
Another race and another victory for Virtuosi as we see the drivers make their way out to the podium for the final ceremony. Superb racing out there today, and a well-deserved win. And after all that excitement, I think it's time for a lie down. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you when Formula 2 resumes.